Okay, Al, I imagine you can hear me because I'm actually approaching my microphone. I do apologize. I had a couple of things I had to run and do real quick. I will be rearranging the microphone here in just a second, so mind your audio. Okay, now let me see. Streamlabs, bring the cam on, and voila! Hello, it's my nicely shaven head. Sorry about that. I had to do a bit of running around and then a bit of shilling. During that, I also had to grab that bottle of water. Unfortunately, I don't have the story I was going to be talking about. Let me just get live chat here on my Streamlabs desktop. If I can. Okay. So what I will be showing you guys right away, this is my Getter account, and I want to heap a bit of praise on one of my subs for making a very good meme. I thought this was absolutely hilarious when I saw it, and I very much want to I very much want to show my appreciation. And in the chat we have Bleach Demon and Patriot Brunchcast. Good morning, gentlemen. I appreciate you being here. Now, let me see. A couple of things I want to talk about real quick before I go on. Quarter Black Garrett is putting out a call for game developers. And if I can find the post, I will bring that up as well. We'll just close my Getter account. There's no need to have extra tabs open. Would that be in his community, I wonder? Here we are. Yeah, so this post here. So Quarter Black Garrett is putting out a call for game developers. As you can see, give you a read more here. The idea being that it would be void of politics and anti-fan rhetoric. He's citing Rippa from the Rippaverse, so I definitely want to encourage people to jump on this particular train. This is part of the pop culture pushback that I think is very, very important. I also see we have James Craig in the chat. Good morning, James. Nice to see you. And you showed up just in time for me to shill your web novel. This is The Undying Emperor by James. I've read the first act. So Act 0, which I believe is this one here. Bandit Infiltration. Or sorry, this is the first chapter of the first act, Act 0. I've read the first 9 chapters, and they're very good. The attention to pacing and tension are both very, very well done. It's definitely the sort of story that draws me in because it's heavy fantasy. I do apologize if you guys watched my short heads-up video this morning. I did mention that I was hungover a little bit. I had 2 whole beers last night. Yeah, this story, I'll just bring that back up so that you guys can grab the link if you want to. The link is also in the description. Or should be, if I didn't boomer the hell out of that. Get my cursor back here. There we are. So I'm going to leave that for just a moment and come back to Quarter Black Garrett. So he's got a list of things he's interested in people talking about with him. Here's the email. Oops. Let's go this way. There we go. There's the email if you're interested. It's qbgdevinfo@gmail.com. He's making it clear this is not a job offer. This is basically, I believe he's just looking for people to collaborate with. But I very much, his meme game is definitely on point. And excellent. Yeah, the link does work. That's good to know. So we will clear that one off, and I'll leave this one up for just a minute. The news story I was looking for to talk about with you guys, I don't know why I don't have a link to it. I had assumed I had thrown it to myself in my email, but I can't seem to find it right now. Yeah, the only thing I've got in my email is the link for Undying Emperor and the screenshot for which I've posted to my Getter of that meme. It's really irritating me that I can't find that story, because it's an excellent piece of Canadian government propaganda that I think it would be fun to tear apart. If I hunt down through, I may find it. No. Oh, just a note as well, my Getter link has been updated. I was able to get the username corrected. Originally I had set it up as Jorj, which was my previous account. That's now been corrected. It is Ardent Party. No, I'm not able to find... I'm getting emails from loads of people, but none of them are anyone I'm really all that interested in. Let's just open all of these, and we'll go around the horn real quick here. Getter, Gab, MeWe, Minds, Parlor. Don't need the Gmail right now, and text now. Okay. So, on my Gab account, I seem to have to log in again, which is getting irritating, but I will do it. Okay, I have a notification, and that notification is that someone probably... Oh, I've got a couple of new followers. Excellent. Someone named Fartwith, and let's see who else followed me, if I can bring that up. I don't seem to be able to actually see who's following me. That's weird. Can I not open that? No. Follows. Okay. Fartwith, Kingdom of Vinland, Yiz the Eunuch, and Mahistory. Okay. I appreciate the follows from all of you guys. And hopefully at some point in the near future I'll have greater use of my Gab account. Which at this point I don't have a hell of a lot of use for. On my Getter, I have James liked the meme post. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. And that's the only notification I have there. MeWe, I have to log back into again. This is what happens when I don't really care. You'll hear a bunch of clicking because I have to verify that I know what a dog looks like for MeWe, apparently. I'll check Minds. Minds also wants me to log in again as well, so I will go there and go there. Okay. I'm going to close that and just try going directly to Minds from this. No, it's still requiring me to log in. That's irritating. Okay. What the hell is that? Oh, I'm not trying to join. I'm trying to log in. No, piss off. There. Okay. No, I don't intend to select tags for interests. I really, really hate it when a social media platform keeps pestering me about stuff like that. And now I'm signing into Parlor, which probably a little bit pointless as well. And Parlor has nothing for me. And over on the phone, which should still be attached to the description, I have a whole lot of, I'm sure, nothing. Oh, I missed a call from somebody I don't know. Isn't that special? Okay, and the maintenance message to send to keep my TextNow account, or my TextNow phone number. I do, let me just see here, bring my face back for a second. So, I do talk about products that I use and that I trust, whether they sponsor me or not. TextNow is one of those. I just saw your comment about MeWe Bleach. Just give me a second, I'll come back to that. But I do talk about products and services that I use that I trust. Not because they sponsor me, though I wouldn't mind, but because I think that the more that we use word of mouth to promote, whether it's Quarter Black Garrett, whether it's James Craik, whether it's Ripaverse, Razor Fist, you know, if it's programs like the Terminal List, which I will be starting to watch tonight. If the season is fairly short, I'll just do a singular review. If not, I may very well do an episode-by-episode review as part of my morning videos. Okay. Everything works. Anything on archive? I take it, Bleach, you're talking about the story I was talking about. The issue isn't archiving. The issue is that I boomered, and now I just cannot find the item I was talking about. Patriot Brunchcast asks, says, it's a good thing they don't ask you to verify what a woman looks like. There's a lot of people these days who would not be able to pass that. Well, I'd make one ugly woman. And then Bleach says, is MeWe a biologist? Touchy question. We won't go there. Okay, so I'll bring back the other window. I'm going to attempt to find what I was talking about. It was a pamphlet about either monkeypox or COVID, and I can't remember. Okay, this might be more entertaining. True North is a good news service I've used a fair bit. So apparently now Canada's red ensign is a hate symbol. This is lovely. So this will be the one story I'll talk about today. A booklet made for school children that calls the red ensign flag a hate symbol and identifies the Conservative Party as a target of infiltration by racists. Oh gods, I gotta bring my face back for this. I really love that Canadian politics has started to be infiltrated by the American idiocies. We've seen it with over in the UK with Black Lives Matter. And there's even been a Black Lives Matter rally here in Newfoundland, which is kind of pointless. There's like 6 of them, and they're all immigrants. None of them were ever slaves. And yet, for some reason, yeah, Bleach says he definitely knows that boomer feeling. I think we all suffer from the boomeritis at one point or another, in one way or another. But the American left is a great example of how you export ideology. The only people possibly better that I can think of are Marx and, I guess, Mao. I don't know that I'd count Che Guevara now that he's basically nothing but merch and a mascot. But the ideas of communism are definitely some of the best disseminated in the world. And it's staggeringly odd to me that people continue to give these ideas credence when you can just look at history and you can see that these things don't work. Anyway, I'll go back to this story here now. So, Apparently, the Conservative Party is a target of infiltration by racists. Our Canadian cabinet approved this taxpayer-funded attack on our heritage. That's wonderful. When was this? June 30th. Okay, so this is a little less than a month. No, sorry, a little more than 6 weeks ago. So this booklet would help teach core values. Yeah, okay. $268,000 to fund the guide Confronting and Preventing Hate in Canadian Schools. Let's have a look at that, shall we? We'll go back to that in just a second. So a federally subsidized group that earlier... So this is like giving the SPLC federal money. And Bleach Me, you might be aware of whether or not they actually get money from the federal government in your country. What else have we got going on? In a chapter on hate-promoting symbols, the booklet names the red ensign as offensive. Oh, okay. Well, while we're doing that, then. Just kidding. I'm not buying a red ensign just because people think it's a hate symbol. I'm not particularly fond of the red ensign. I think it's an ugly flag. But this was the flag of Canada until 1965. There we go. Its usage denotes a desire to return to Canada's demographics before 67, when it was predominantly white. I have some absolutely atrocious news for you guys, but Canada's still predominantly white. Learn to live with it. In fact, let's see what the demographic makeup of Canada is right now. And we'll use Wikipedia just because, well, why not? So provinces and territories, fertility rate, population, life, age, sex, vital stats, ethnicity, visible minorities. Oh, apparently Canadian is an ethnicity now. That's interesting, considering Trudeau said we didn't have a culture. Ethnic origin. There we are. So Canadian is 11 million, but this is combined responses. So English, Scottish, French, Irish, German. I will applaud them for having the good sense to separate white into other things. However, I think the First Nations probably should be as well. And let me just check here. And yeah, African. Yeah, because, you know, Black Canadians. This is an incredibly misleading statistic. Yeah, smaller ethnicities. Quebecois apparently is an ethnicity, but yet Acadian is, but Newfoundlander is not. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's very interesting. Let me just do something here and see. Oh, Newfoundlander is actually an ethnicity. That's interesting. But of course, the link doesn't actually take you to an explanation of Newfoundlander as an ethnicity. Let's try, for shites and giggles, Albertan. Yeah, so there's a interesting piece. Okay, but the red ensign is often used by the younger alt-right Canada First movement, but has been seen amongst older hate-promoting groups and individuals. Canada First. I've never heard of this either. And generally I'm pretty aware of the racist things. Canada First. Of course, Wikipedia was a Canadian nationalist movement organized in 1868, promoted British Protestant component as central to Canadian identity. I agree. Strongly. 1874. Oh, okay. So this is a historical piece that was done. I see the chat moving. I'll deal with you guys in just a second here. So apparently, yeah, is that this thing? I'll use the word guide here. And Let's see what we get. That looks like a lovely picture of Trudeau being an asshat. We'll leave that. This is interesting. I can't find the actual booklet. Let's try gov.ca. Huh. So I can't find a link to the actual booklet. That's interesting. Anyway, just to come back to chat here. Let me see. Patriot, it's a good thing they don't ask. Okay, we talked about that. Definitely know the boomer feeling. Bleach Demon says the American progressives were perhaps the best at selling a soft revolution. Well, your people did perfect marketing. So, Bleach says he owns a red ensign. A Canadian red ensign? That's awesome. Billy Blogs asked, Labrador like the dog? Yes, actually, Newfoundland and Labrador have two breeds of dogs named because they were originated in the province. If you've ever seen a Newfoundland dog, they look somewhat like a bear. If you've ever seen a Labrador, they're somewhat insane. The Newfoundland is about as opposite as a dog can get from a Labrador. Apparently, one of the Canadian flags is racist. Yeah. You can see the flag I have on the wall here. That one's racist too, so yeah. Hi Kingdom, it's good to see you. Billy Blogs, racist is an anti-white slur. Please stop. You know, I'm fine with it being used in this context, because while it is an anti-white slur, none of us are anti-white, so it's perfectly acceptable for us to use a scientific term, and racist is a scientific term, a label. And besides, the more we talk about it, the less sting the word has. But yeah, I thought it was absolutely hilarious that the red ensign would be considered a hate symbol. Let's see what else what is it? The Canadian Anti-Hate Network. Let's see what else these sensible people consider hate symbols. And before I go to that page, let me just throw out a disclaimer here. One little piece of disclaimer that I want to put out here is Ardent Party does not necessarily subscribe to the beliefs of anyone who would use these particular symbols, and the management would like to make it very aware for any YouTube reviewer that I am not racist. I am simply showing information that is available widely and publicly online. Now, with that bit of crap out of the way, Promethean Healing, hey man, great to see you. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, I did something a little different today. I went live and then I shilled out the link to it. Flew that red ensign during the Ottawa protests. Good job. Billy Blogs asks, isn't all this anti-white stuff racist? How do you mean, Billy? Just to have it cleared up to make sure you're understanding the way we're using this term. While I'm waiting for Billy's response, I'll go and have a look at the hate symbols that the Canadian... Oh no, that's the Anti-Racist Network. Okay, so this is not the same group I was just talking about, which was the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. This is the Anti-Racism Network. Symbols can serve many purposes. They may serve to identify members of a group and or affirmation of an idea or ideology. Not just members of one group. They can often be used by members of different groups. For example, the Maltese Cross, which was used by, if I recall correctly, the Germans in World War I, the Germans in World War II, and the Knights Templar. Depending on which of those groups you're talking about, one of them is a hate group. But that doesn't mean the symbol itself is always hateful. The swastika, the symbol that the SS used is actually also known as the Bolts of Wotan, which is a runic symbol used by various pagan groups. What have we got here? Symbols will accompany text. When you see a racist symbol, record the date, time, location, description of the wearer, and particulars of your observation. In other words, go around being constantly on guard against your fellow citizens. Take a picture if possible. Just for the record here, guys, this one could count as a breach of privacy. In public, certainly. You have no expectation of privacy in a public setting. However, if you're in someone's house and you take a picture of something that they have on their wall, yeah, you could be opening yourself... Oh, okay, this explains it. See, these two letters, BC, that stands for British Columbia. And British Columbia is basically Portland North at this point. I noticed they're talking about hate symbols, but they're not showing any hate symbols. That's interesting. Let's try the Canadian Anti-Hate Network like I intended to originally. Oh god, no, I'm not signing up for shit from you people. Okay, education seems like a sensible place to look for symbols. Toolkit, ideologies, scenarios, confronting, know your opposition. Let's try that one. Please don't be a video. Visual rhetoric, memes. Oh, memes! I love memes. Memes and other symbols of hate-motivated ideology. So, apparently, all memes are hateful. Keck. Youth may be irony poisoned. I think we like to call that the honk pill these days. Some of them may come across as tongue-in-cheek rather than serious, but the trolling orientation of online far-right culture. It's only the far-right that trolls? Really? That's interesting. I wouldn't describe myself as far-right, but I have a grand time trolling on occasion. Constantly evolving. Yes, so is the symbology of online far-left and other hate-promoting groups. Oh, I don't want to download anything. Confronting Hate in Canadian Schools. Is that the place I can find that guide, finally? Antihate.ca. Yes, it is. Well, let's just zip through here and see if we can't find... Girls, trans, and non-binary youth in hate movements. Why do students of color participate in hate movements? Does someone want to break the news? Would someone else like to break the news to them that pretty much every culture on the planet's racist, except us? Yeah, and the left can't meme. That's true. James Craig says he just emailed Quarter Black Garrett. Could be awesome, but I'm not getting my hopes up. You know, hope for the best, expect nothing. Billy Blogs asks, well, they're being racist against white people. Does racism only work one way? No. Well, yes. In the mind of the left, if someone is called racist, they must be white. Larry Elder is a great example. He was the black face of white supremacy. The fuck? Kingdom says, sorry, I'm being distracted for just a second. Kingdom says the Finnish Air Force used a reverse swastika on their Air Force. So on their planes and things, I imagine. Wishes they had kept that round L. Yeah. Right. Kazi Kodo wants to have a word with Khan. Yeah. Just to address Billy again. I'm part of what's known as, I guess you could call it, the white well-being or white positive community. And that's not... well, the terms should be fairly self-explanatory. This isn't a group that is against anyone, but pro ourselves. We're in favor of seeing our people flourish, of seeing our culture survive, things like that. The easiest analog I can draw is looking at 90s black film culture in the States. Films like Boys in the Hood. I think there were a few others, but Boys in the Hood is the one that stuck with me. Where the father says to the son, you know, Actually, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, as well as another one that promoted this message, that black people had to stand up for black people, but not by attacking someone else, but by doing what works for them to promote their prosperity. And it's really the same sort of thing with the white positive sphere. What we're doing is not attacking it. It's another good example is my ginger thing. Yes, I do it tongue-in-cheek, but I really don't want to see redheads erased. Mostly because I'm one, and I'd love to have a gaggle of redheaded kids. But as for racism only working one way, yes and no. If you're on, and I don't want to granulate it down to sides, but if you're someone with a lick of common sense who hasn't been indoctrinated into this idea that only white people can be racist, you can look around and look at the world and look at countries like Japan or China and see that, or North Korea, and see that there is racism in all these cultures. Every culture has some degree of racism in it, with the exception of the Western culture, which has actively worked to eradicate racism. When I was a kid, it was extremely unusual to hear anyone refer to someone else derogatively based on their race. Now, it still happened, but when you heard it, anyone who was being racist was looked at askance and treated as if they had done something wrong. But then you have the rise of programs like affirmative action or Harvard's selection process, things like that, where they're actively saying racist things about the people they claim to want to help. Affirmative action is an absolutely perfect example of the soft bigotry of low expectations, where you assume that because someone has a certain skin color, they're not going to be as qualified as someone with a different skin color. That's racism, and that's actually institutionalized racism. The problem is, it's compassionate in that it allows people to be subpar and still prosper. So it kind of removes the impetus to... what the hell is that? Sorry, I just got some sort of notification from Streamlabs. Oh, I don't give a crap about you. Go away, newsletters. But it allows people to not put out the effort and still expect that same level of success. The idea of equality of outcome. That's similar issues. You're basically saying that someone who isn't as qualified for a position as someone else should still get that position based solely on completely intrinsic factors. Which, essentially, if you look at it, you're not being inclusive. You're actually excluding people who are qualified. You are damaging your business or your government or whatever organization in order to take on people who aren't up to the task. Harvard is a great example. They were handicapping, I believe it was Asians and white students, and at the same time over promoting black students who didn't qualify or weren't as qualified. And what that means is that you're basically telling these people, look, we know you need help, so we're going to make things easier for you because you need help. What? No. What you tell people is, okay, get good, scrub. You don't look at someone and say, well, you're handicapped because you're such and such. That's insanely insulting, and it also discourages people from improving themselves. You don't get me started on Black Hitler either, Bleach. So let's have another quick look at this one. Hate promoting movements. Do I have symbols here? Oh, here we are. Common hate promoting symbols. Oh, gods. Really? Pepe? Oh. Pepe is a comic character that was appropriated by far-right online spaces. Oh, and of course they had to mention the good old boys, 4chan. There are many variations of Pepe. Note, because Pepe was co-opted by racists, its usage cannot be assumed to be hateful. And context should be considered. Commonly found in benign spaces on the video game streaming platform Twitch. Why are you mentioning particularly Twitch? That's interesting. Whoa, Jack. Oh my. And of course they had to mention 4chan again. The Happy Merchant. Okay, this one was created by actual anti-Semites. This one is definitely a racist symbol. Not because it depicts a Jew, but because it depicts a Jew who is... it depicts them negatively. Now, I've known Jewish people. By and large, they're like anybody else. You know, they just have a different set of beliefs. Now, and I should make that clear on camera, I don't have a problem with anyone based on their race. But persons can be smart, but people can be awfully fucking evil. And you'll hear me use the phrase the Chinese to hate on people. When I say that, I'm talking about the Chinese Communist Party, not the Chinese ethnicity necessarily. Helicopter rides. Okay. Yeah, the usage of this meme is a reference to Chilean dictator Pinochet's tactic of killing his opposition. Hang on. Not just his opposition. Communists. Yeah. By throwing them out of helicopters. Now, this doesn't make sense to me. Why would this be hate promoting? Chad guy, trad girl is a meme often found in anti-feminist and incel groups. No, incels are involuntarily celibate. Why would they want to, oh, give me a second, I got a little visitor. It's, oops, just about pulled that down. It's warm weather in Newfoundland, so we get some interesting insects in the house. I don't know if you guys know what a woodlouse is. We call them alternately carpenters and boat builders. But I just had one crawl across the shelf in front of me, so yeah, he had to go. He's not paying rent, so he's not staying. Anyway, Chad guy and trad girl is a meme often found in anti-feminist and incel groups that depict the ideal for cisgender white men and women. No. That's not the ideal. It's nice, and it is an ideal, but the memes originally began circulating on 4chan. Wow, they really, really hate 4chan. And there are numerous versions. The example on the left is the Nordic Chad. Possibly. Bleach Demon says trad girl is best girl. Kingdom of Vinland says yes, and I vehemently agree. The non-player character. Non-playable character. Okay, well, you obviously don't know your terms properly. The NPC is in the same meme family as Chad guy and trad girl, used to mock normies, or people who don't subscribe to their belief system. That is not what normies means. Normies is a term for people who are not plugged into the political spheres on the internet. People who don't know what the word meme even means. A pill bug? Might be Bleach. Let me look up a pill bug. Yeah, actually, that's pretty much exactly what it is. Huh, okay. Didn't know that was what they were called. But we generally find them around rotting wood or really moist areas. Fash wave? This is something I've never even encountered. Red-pilled. A meme drawn from the Matrix films. Being red-pilled is used by hate-promoting individuals to refer to a decision to accept the truth. No. When you're red-pilled, it's not that you're accepting the truth, it's that you've noticed the lies. You've seen the glitches in the Matrix, so to speak. Other forms of being pilled include white-pilled, as a result of positive news, typically positive for the hate movement. No. Oh. Black-pilled, as a result of negative or depressing news for the hate movement. Okay, black-pilling and white-pilling have nothing to do with any particular organization. And yeah, this might very well be something they just created. But being pilled, especially white or black pilled, it really just means whether or not you've heard something depressing or something uplifting. And we come back to the lovely Canadian flag. Let's see what this link takes me to. A National Post article from 2017. 5 members of the anti-immigration alt-right Proud Boys. So of course it had to be the Proud Boys. Shame. It's really unfortunate they managed to poison the idea of the Proud Boys. The Proud Boys was more a male positive thing. Bleach says, yeah, based ape and Discordia are targets of Khan. You should probably tell them that the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is funded by our government and may have a beef with them. Sonnenrad, an ancient Norse and Celtic symbol, co-opted by the Nazis. And certain people in Ukraine, it turns out. But we can't talk about that. The Kolovrat, a Slavic pagan sunwheel symbol, has been adopted by neo-Nazis. Well, damn near everything's been adopted by neo-Nazis. Oh, that's what this means. I thought it was. Wolfsangel, ancient rune co-opted by the Nazis. What exactly is the Wolfsangel, then? See, I'm always curious as to the original usage. Did I just put Wolfsanger? No. I'm always curious about the original usage of a symbol. And while I don't always trust Wikipedia to be clear, okay. Early medieval pagans believed the symbol possessed magical powers, could ward off wolves. Okay, so it was originally used to keep wolves away. Makes sense. The life rune, this is the tree of life for those of you who happen to have any sort of pagan connection. Also known as Yggdrasil. I like how they only bother to put this here. Not all usage of runes is white supremacist, and context should be considered. Yeah. The Valknut, an ancient symbol related to Odin. Not all usage of Odinist symbols is white supremacist. Yet, every single time that you see that in a news story, it's always connected to white supremacy somehow. Curious. You know what really pisses me off? There's no symbols for ginger supremacy. Okay, yeah, so I've pretty much exhausted the usefulness of this. We'll get rid of that, and let's see if I can find something to promote that will actually be fun. Here we are, I think. No, not that one. Okay. Let's go with this. Find something to just end on for shits and giggles here. Get us a hate symbol. Let me see. Is this a good one? No, that's definitely not a good one. Okay, I'll bring that one up because that's slightly hilarious. So this person says they're lonely and they wish they could meet a psychotic basement dwelling NEET, whatever that means, who spams racial slurs on 4chan all day. Seriously, the left really cannot meme, can they? I mean, honestly. Oh, let me shrink me. Can I not shrink me? Okay, we'll put me away then. Oh, wrong button. That's what happened. So, yeah, the left really can't meme, can they? She's lonely, and she wishes she could meet a psychotic basement dwelling NEET. Okay, but the stereotype of basement dwellers who do nothing but post racial slurs all day, yeah, that's pathetically anti-white. Because it is generally considered that white people are the ones doing that. Whatever. Let me see. Bleach Demon says St. Andrew's Cross is ginger supremacist symbol made by non-gingers. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Let me just switch that back. There we go. If I remember, St. Andrew's Cross is the... Oops. The red on white? Have I got that right? Oh no, the Scottish one. That's hardly fair. Not all gingers are Scottish. We don't all speak with a brogue. Anyway, guys, I'm coming up on an hour. I only intended to do about a half an hour today, but I do appreciate the lot of you stopping by and helping out. Just for the hell of it, I'm going to punch in the phrase hate symbols. Or actually, let's try ginger supremacy symbols and see if something comes up. Oh, where's my mouse gone? There it is. White supremacist symbols you don't know yet, but should. Something connected to Africa. Yes, very ginger in Africa. Third Eye Diva. Goddess Moat. Not Gold Beat. No, also not. Yeah, no. I'm looking for this ginger supremacy and I can't find any. Irish Central. Okay, see, that's racist. Not all gingers are Irish. What the hell is that thing? No idea. Okay. Sorry? I think that's enough internet for today. Billy Blogs, you're absolutely right. The anti-white attitude is going to backfire on them because if it wasn't for white Western culture, they would not have a space in which to hate white Western culture. And wanting the downfall of that culture will inevitably backfire on them because once that culture is gone, and it's the only actively anti-racist culture on the planet, once that culture disappears, they're fucked. There's your symbol. Yeah. I don't think I'm going with the BDSM gingerbread man for my symbol. Dear gods. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep that though. Oh, excuse me. I'm definitely going to keep that handy. That's going on my getter, and probably into Discord. Ginger bondage is wrong. Anyway, folks, if you've got any other questions, shoot them out right now, and I'm going to have a drink, and hopefully that'll be enough time for the lag to kick in. Yeah, that's a special one right there. Yeah. Actually, that makes me wonder what the Pride flag, pastel pink and green. Billy Bloggs says, free the gingers from bondage. Yeah. Well, let's take a quick fling through this before I shut her down. I want to see if those colors are represented anywhere. And what we're looking for is pastel pink and yellow and green. This is pretty close. What's this one? No, that's Two-Spirit there. This one is genderqueer. Yeah, that's probably right. Okay, so what's genderqueer people supposed to be? Outside of the male-female binary. So what exactly does genderqueer mean? Fandom wiki? No. Ugh. I would have thought fandom would have... Well, I should have known better, but I would have thought fandom would have been at least somewhat anti-woke. Well, let's see what genderqueer means, shall we? What is genderqueer? Gender identity built around the term queer. Oh. Settle down, computer. I know I push you to your limits, but you don't need to be mad at me. So let's see if we can get a definition of the term queer. We're not going to use Wikipedia for this. We'll use a dictionary. Which dictionary is this? Wordnik, no. Merriam-Webster tends to be fairly woke, but let's see. The original meaning, differing in some way from what is normal, usual, or normal. Eccentric or unconventional. Sometimes disparaging. Yeah, it wasn't uncommon for us to call each other queer when we were kids. And it meant weird. Not gay, not odd in some sexual fashion. It just meant weird. Queer people who are attracted to multiple genders, wouldn't that be pansexual? Yeah, these people don't even know how to define their own terms. Chiefly British, old-fashioned. He'll be working to spread quack medicines, queer investments. I did get a job. There is actually a verb queer as well. Let me see if I can find that here. Here we are. To consider or interpret something from a perspective that rejects traditional categories of gender and sexuality. No. No. Old-fashioned. To spoil the effect or success of something. Yeah, now this is the term I was talking about. And this is Tom Clancy using this, so it's not archaic by any means. Nothing queers an investigation like moving too rapidly. Yeah. So genderqueer... Oh, apparently there are homosexual norms now. Typically used to describe a person's sexual orientation, it can also be used to express a non-binary gender identity. So it's a catch-all. So, when I'm going to recount a little personal anecdote here real quick. Yes, Douglas Murray does genderqueer. Oh gods, yeah, okay, that's something I'm going to work on. Well, I guess you could describe me as genderqueer because I do like redheads, and I am a redhead, so makes sense. So I identify as genderqueer now. Let's see. Billy Bloggs said, "Free the gingers." Seleucid Argyrospide? Spide? Is that Greek? Tara, hi, nice to see you. Billy Bloggs says, look up the map flag. Always keep an eye out for it at Pride and other leftist events. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before it starts to be more and more prevalent. Kingdom of Inland says, I hope runes can go back to their original meaning. They haven't lost their original meaning. This is the problem with the leftists. They keep trying to redefine things. Just push back and say, no, that's not what it means. Even if you have to use the suffix to me. Because these people are all about personal interpretations of things. So if you ask them what's a woman, and they say, oh, well, I identify as a woman because that's how I feel. if you hold up a swastika and they go, "You're a racist," you go, "No, this is a lollipop because that's how I feel." Same logic. Bleach Demon says, "I keep hearing genderqueer." Yeah, yeah. That's gonna bite me in the ass one of these times, isn't it? Billy Blogs points out that Douglas Murray does describe the queer-gay dichotomy. Yeah, I don't have a problem with gay people. It's the queers that worry me. I absolutely feel the same way. Now, when we were looking at the term queer just a moment ago, especially genderqueer, it was fairly clear that it's being used as a somewhat catch-all phrase, a catch-all category. When I was banned from Twitter, the reason was that I had said that, and it was part of an ongoing contextual conversation. I had used the phrase, "all queers are pedophiles," then, with a question mark. I had asked the question. That's all. And, of course, someone who decided they didn't like me grabbed that and probably sent it to some Twitterati and got me banned. Well, suspended. But it's as good as a ban if I won't delete the comment. Jordan Peterson's in the same situation. But the context of the comment, of the question, was if man on man is homosexual, if man on, or woman on woman is homosexual or lesbian, gay and lesbian, so we have the L and the G, then we have the B, which is bisexuals, so that's men or women who chase men or women. Okay, so that's the L, the G, and the B. Then we have the T, which is transgender, which technically is not a sexuality, so shouldn't really be under that Rubicon. But anyway, so then we have that category filled. So what's the Q? What falls under Q? What are the queers? And you find that there are things like bondage, which, okay, but if you're a guy who likes to put women in bondage, or you're a guy who likes to be dominated by a woman, you're still straight. If you're a guy who wants to be dominated by a guy, you're gay. If you're a woman who wants to be dominated by a woman, you're a lesbian, and potentially a victim of domestic abuse, but we leave that alone. But if you're attracted to horses, for example, like a certain chunky yogurt guy, there's no bestiality. The B is already taken, so there's no bestiality category. So you must go into the Q category. If you're native who identifies differently, you're two spirits. That's what that category is for. So, what about the pedophiles? People who say they're MAPs, for example, minor attracted people. Do they not fall into the Q category if they're trying to push pedophilia as a legitimate sexuality? Therefore, when I ask the question, so all the pedophiles are queers? I don't think I was necessarily asking a bad question. I was seeking clarification. Granted, I was doing it tongue-in-cheek, but just pointing that out. Billy Bloggs says, how come we are letting them pervert the language? Political correctness and agreeableness. The gay used to mean happy, queer used to mean odd. They still do. The problem is that those usages have become archaic. And that's fine. All language eventually evolves. The problem is languages don't evolve artificially. It's an organic process. Right now, what's going on is that we have people who are artificially trying to alter the language we use. One of the biggest issues that we end up with is political correctness, which is generally, and I hate to say this because I actually really like white women, but liberal white women are a plague because they will essentially compassion shame you into changing your language. You can't say that because it's mean. What? Chimera tells you. No. But, with a lot of the protests and demonstrations you see, Black Lives Matter, pro-abortion, it's almost always white liberal women who are leading that march. And it's because of two factors. And Jordan Peterson talks about one of these: agreeableness. And the need of women to be considered agreeable. Now, that's an evolutionary thing. Men don't have it. Men have more of a drive to be respected, and therefore we tend to take more risks. When the dictionaries are actively changing definitions, we are entering newspeak, double plus ungood. Yes, absolutely, Bleach, you're absolutely right. And Merriam-Webster is a perfect example of a dictionary that's being very badly perverted. I'm actually way over time here as well, guys, so I try and wrap up here in the next few seconds. But what happens is, with liberal women, because these women have been pushed out of the home and basically told, no, you are as valuable as men, they're I'll use the term species, though it's not really accurate, but as a species, they're attempting to find their place in the culture. And the problem with that is that they are stepping all over organically created protocols that have been in place for millennia. And I mean, there's a mass of interconnections that come about and create some of these problems. And it's very difficult not to sound like it's English. It's very difficult not to sound like a conspiracy theorist when I talk about these. But feminism has basically erased women. Feminism told women they were identical to men, they were equivalent to men, and that there was no difference in the sexes. Bullshit. The worst thing you can do to someone is to tell them that they aren't what they are, or that their attitude towards who they are is wrong. Anyway, yeah, before I get off on too much more of a tangent, I'll end here because I am over time and I'm getting hungry. And when I get hungry, I get angry. Yeah, me angry would probably get bounced off YouTube if I don't get bounced for this in the first place. In any case, folks, I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days, and rise again until lambs become lions. Also, go check out Quarter Black Garrett. Go check out James Craig. Hell, check me out too. Like, share, subscribe, comment. If you're feeling particularly generous, there is a donation link. Bleach, I need to look back into some of the anti-suffrage women. They seem to have predicted this. Yeah, a lot of the anti-suffrage women, the subversion Yuri warned us about, feminism kind of piggybacks